Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Manjiri Nadkarni, Ayurvedic MD, registered holistic nutritionist, back today, and I'm live again from my Instagram story. I'm also live on my Facebook, in my Facebook group, on my YouTube channel, as well as the Blue Water Nutrition page for Wellness Wednesday. So, Wellness Wednesdays are where we come to talk about certain extremely important health topics that are not discussed. And for the week, for the month of October, we have been talking about fertility as well as conception, men's health, women's health in relation to fertility as well as pregnancy. Today, we are going to discuss all about pregnancy nutrition, and we are also going to bust some extremely common myths. Hello, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Tute JV Pull. Hi, nice to see you. So, if you are watching this live, please say a quick hi. If you are watching this as a replay, you can put a hashtag as replay. And if at any point of time, if you have any questions, you can always comment on this thread and ask me any questions that you have. So let's get started and let's talk about, what are some of the most common myths that we come across when it comes to pregnancy. So one big thing that I see a lot of people saying is, you're eating for two, right? So always eat more, eat more. And you're kind of forcing yourself to eat a lot more once you conceive because you are eating for two is what you believe, but it's not true, right? Always when you are eating, please keep in mind that you have to digest the food that you're eating, right? So pregnancy is a state which is a natural state in the body. It's not an abnormal or pathological state. So your hormones do change naturally, right? But it is something that's naturally your body's transitioning, right? And because of the changes, sometimes your digestive power or agni can be lowered as well. And that is why it is always extremely, extremely important to focus on the digestion and not overeat, right? The one thing I recommend is absolutely avoid fastings during pregnancies, right? So try to avoid fasting on water or try to avoid, not eating for longer periods of time. If you are pregnant, that is extremely important because you want to make sure you're well fed and nourished all the time, but you do not want to overeat just because you are eating for two. And when you conceive, the first 3 months, the fetus or the baby is extremely tiny, its requirements are very different. Its requirements will increase as the fetus or the baby grows as well, but you're definitely not eating for two. So that is one of the biggest myths that I have, come across in my practice is the other one is about fish, right? So there are certain foods you shouldn't be eating because of the mercury content. Now, fish in Ayurvedic terms is warming to the body. So if you have a high pitta prakriti, right, if you have a lot of acidic state in the body, or if you have what we call a high fire, right, or excess heat in the body, then minimizing fish or having freshwater fish is good. But mercury content wise, ideally I think fish is a better meat as compared to red meat, which can constipate you, right? So any kind of fish which are low in mercury, so some fish, which are high in mercury are like fresh and frozen tuna, there's swordfish, there's shark, king mackerel, sea bass, mahi mahi. So these are to be avoided, right? Bluefin or yellowfin, pickerel, orange roughy. So these are certain fish that you want to avoid, but you can safely eat some other fish like, sardines or tilapia or even salmon, right? Wild caught salmon, trout, Arctic char, even albacore tuna in smaller amounts is definitely permissible. And fish has good amounts of omega 3, which is also important for the brain development of your child. Now, one thing to absolutely avoid during pregnancy is raw fish, right? So raw fish could, or even sushi could increase the risk of any foodborne illnesses. So you want to be able to avoid raw fish, but any other kind of fish, as long as you're digesting it well, as long as you're not allergic or sensitive to it, for most part, definitely, you can go ahead and have fish during pregnancy. So it's not an absolute no-no, right? So these are two of the myths that I talked about to make sure. And then ideally, avoiding caffeine, right? So sometimes people take a lot of energy drinks because they're extremely tired. So in my belief, like avoiding any kind of stimulants is extremely important because your body is working with the changing hormones, right? So you don't want to increase any stressors on the body, and any stimulants like excess of caffeine or even alcohol should be completely avoided if for the baby's growth and development. But any smoking or any kind of stimulants on the system are going to create a lot of stress in the system, and your body is already trying to adapt to all the changing requirements, the changing hormones. So ideally, the cleaner you eat, the better it is for you. Hi Javed. Hello, yoga break for children. Hello, Rajan. Hi, nutritious. So I'm just saying a quick hi to everyone who is live on my Instagram story as well. So we're talking about pregnancy. Nutrition for pregnancy is the topic today. Hello, Sandeep. So that's what we are talking today, pregnancy and nutritional needs, and we're busting some of the myths as well. Now, one of the other myths that I've seen is, a lot of people switch over from black tea to certain kinds of herbal teas, right? But not all herbs are safe during pregnancy, right? So make sure you're working with a practitioner or talking to someone before you go and grab any kind of herbs, because if you are taking any other remedies or medicines, they can also interact with it. Certain herbs that you can safely use are citrus or ginger. So ginger tea, you can definitely use it for nausea, but try to avoid anything that you're not sure of. So simple things like lemon balm, orange peel, rose hip tea are definitely considered to be safe in moderation. But when we look at Health Canada, it has outlined a list of teas to avoid, like even chamomile or any teas with aloe or coltsfoot, juniper berries, pennyroyal, comfrey, duck roots, lobelia, any kind of senna leaves. So these have to be avoided during pregnancy. So just because it is herbal does not always mean it is safe. That is one thing I wanted to say. So always, make sure you're talking to a professional. Always, you're seeking the advice from a healthcare professional, also your holistic practitioner before you go for any of the herbal teas, right? So that's one of my biggest advices. Let's go on and talk a little bit more about. I'm going to try and cover quite a few things. And the other thing is exercising. So exercising should be done in moderation. So you don't need to completely stop exercise. I know it's not really linked to diet, but you can continue with the exercises you're doing in moderation, right? Don't try to overexert or overexhaust yourself when it comes to exercise. And one thing I would strongly recommend against, right, during pregnancy is any kind of herbal detoxes. Pregnancy is not the time to detoxify at all, right? You will hurt the baby if you are detoxifying, and especially picking up any of the boxed cleanses or boxed detoxes, which could have a variety of herbs, are not recommended during this stage of life, right? If you want, like if you're constipated and want a gentler detox, something like psyllium husk might be a better option just to get rid of constipation. But herbal detoxes during pregnancy are absolutely not recommended, and especially any of the box detoxes where you have no idea how the herbs work. So please be a little bit careful and do not take those. Now let's talk about pregnancy. And one of the questions that somebody reached out and they were asking is, what about different diets during pregnancy? So if you are following a certain dietary pattern, like if you are even a vegan, right? So there's a lot of misconceptions about veganism and pregnancy, and you can definitely, as long as you're getting all the important nutrients, you can follow your existing diet or lifestyle, right? In terms of what you're doing, as long as you're getting all the requirements, you're getting all the nutrients, and you're not getting exhausted physically, right? So I'll be talking a little bit about the Ayurvedic diet later on, but when it comes to the modern nutritional world, some of the things we look for are calcium, folate, we look for iron as well as protein. So these are some important nutrients that we talk about when we're talking about pregnancy. And even when it comes to a vegan diet, you will be able to definitely source these. So an example is, you can get calcium from milk, yogurt, cheeses, but you can also get calcium from sesame seeds or kale or broccoli and different leafy green vegetables, right? As well as tofu. So you can definitely, you might have to take B12 if you are deficient, and you can always get the vegan options for supplements as well. We carry a lot of supplements which are vegan friendly at Blue Water Nutrition. So please, if you're local, feel free to check it out. And this is extremely important. So the other thing is folate. Folate deficiency is also very common. So um, you need about 600 to 800 micrograms of folate, and you can definitely get those from nuts and dried beans and lentils, as well as some nut butters, dark leafy greens, right? Iron as well. So definitely, leafy greens are going to have some iron. Lean meats, if you're having the meat or fish, you can source iron from it. Citrus is going to help the absorption of iron. So it's not always a matter of how much your intake is. It's also important to understand that you should be absorbing the food, you should be digesting the food, breaking the food down, and then absorbing the nutrients from the food, right? So even though you might eat plenty of a certain thing, if your digestion takes a hit, you might not be able to absorb the nutrients. So that is extremely important when we go to talk about pregnancy, is to always focus on your digestion again, right? And if you are having symptoms like nausea, where you're absolutely not wanting to eat any kind of foods, if you're having a lot of acid reflux, it's time to see a holistic practitioner or your healthcare practitioner to find certain solutions. And some simple remedies like ginger do work extremely well for nausea. So these are a few things I wanted to kind of hop on and talk about. But anytime, when we talk about pregnancy, there's also one thing that people talk about: eating a lot and giving into, a lot of cravings. So in Ayurveda, we talk about respecting a woman's cravings during the time of pregnancy, but make sure, you are also focusing on the health or nutritional aspect of it, right? You always want to have nutrient rich foods which are going to strengthen your body and not empty calories, right? You don't want to, binge on a lot of donuts or pizzas which are deficient in nutrients but rich in calories, right? So always your attention or your focus should be towards nutrient dense foods, which are extremely important when it comes to pregnancy, right? So that's a few things I wanted to talk about. Hello Brett Baba, it's Linda. So hi, hello Ayurveda my life. It's Swati, I guess. So nice to see you all. And hi Sandeep. Oh, greetings. You're an Ayurvedic therapist from Kerala, India. Nice. I'm from India too, so it's pretty amazing. Yeah, so these are a few things I wanted to hop on and talk about. And now let's talk a little bit about Ayurvedic diet, right? So when we talk about Ayurveda and Ayurvedic diet for pregnancy, there are three different kinds of foods we talk about, right? We talk about sattvic foods, which will promote clarity. We talk about rajasic food which stimulate you, and we talk about tamasic foods that create a lot of inertia. So during pregnancy, you want to be able to eat as clean, as fresh as possible. And typically most people all the time should be eating as clean and as fresh as possible. But when the foods you source are really close to the environment you live in, they are made for you by nature, right? So they're really going to support your body. An example is a lot of squashes are going to help you in winter time, right? So this is extremely important to identify that, wherever you live, you have to follow the diet according to the season and focus on the seasonal routines, but also try to source fresh fruits and vegetables because they have a lot of prana or life force. And if you are someone who's tired all the time, if you have any bags of dark circles under your eyes or bags under your eyes, chances are your diet is devoid in this prana or life force that we talk about in Ayurveda, right? So try to source as clean, as fresh as possible in your regular diet. Now, organic or not organic is a huge topic. So ideally, whenever you can, organic is the best for you, because foods were not meant to be grown with tons and tons of pesticides, right? So foods naturally in their state are the best for you. They will provide you with lots of different nutrients, like um, carrots have beta carotene, which can help with your own eyes and also with the health development of your babies, right? Nuts and seeds like flax seeds can help with um, like omega 3s, right, which are also required for the neurological development of the baby. So eating lots of fresh clean food is extremely important. Having sattvic food is extremely important. In Ayurveda we talk about whole milk, right? So if you are not a big fan of milk, or if you are a vegan, you can always opt for coconut milk, which is slightly cooling but it has good amounts of fats, and these are medium chain triglycerides which are going to support your system. So whole milk, coconut milk, nuts and seeds should be in moderation because they can heat up your system. Fresh fruits and vegetables, leafy greens at this time are really going to help you not get constipated, which is also commonly seen during pregnancy. If you are getting any other symptoms like diarrhea or recurrent runs or any urgent motions, please check out for food intolerances or sensitivities, because of the hormonal changes your body can change certain things, right? So even though you were not reacting to a certain food, you might suddenly end up reacting because you're pregnant. So I've seen that a lot in my practice as well. And sometimes if you're allergic to a certain food and suddenly you get pregnant and you can eat that food, right? So I've also seen both the sides. So pregnancy is pretty magical and it can go either ways. It really depends on the person. But if you're seeing any signs or symptoms out of the norm, please get in touch with a holistic practitioner who can really help you. Foods that we talk about, the sattvic foods that I was talking about, mung beans are really good, milk, rice, white rice, jasmine rice, basmati rice, red rice, that is extremely good because it's easier to digest. And if your digestion is not super strong, you will be easily able to digest this rice. So you can make rice based soups, you can make like a rice and chicken soup or a vegetarian rice soup, rice congee, right? And it will also help, especially during the first trimester where your body is still adapting and you could have a lot of nausea, right? Adding spices, so moderate amounts of spices like ginger or nutmeg or turmeric, coriander, cilantro, parsley, basil. So these are extremely, beneficial to add to your diet. And also fermented foods can be had in moderation. So definitely having fermented foods, like sauerkraut or certain pickles or even freshly made yogurt or buttermilk is beneficial. Buttermilk is better than yogurt because it's not going to clog up your channels, and it also provides you with the probiotic support. Now please remember that your baby is going to get its microbiome from you, right? So when you deliver the baby actually gets its first microbiome from you. So if you take some probiotics or probiotic rich foods, it is 100% going to make your baby healthy, right? And then you might be able to, even like, you will be able to stay healthy yourself with the probiotic foods, but you could also avoid certain conditions that I see a lot in children as well as toddlers, like eczema. So certain kids are extremely prone to eczema and recurrent infections because they don't have a healthy gut microbiome. So this is extremely important for you at this time to make sure that your microbiome stays healthy and you're eating a lot of probiotic rich foods. Buttermilk, you can have it with your meals, and buttermilk is definitely going to help digest your food and as well as provide a lot of probiotic support. I'm just going to see a few questions here. So explorers of the globe, okay ma'am, as you're in Canada, so Ayurveda is recognized in Canada. It is private. I didn't get your question, but whoever is there as explorers of the group, feel free to message me, and I will be hosting a webinar on Ayurvedic practice in Canada next week. So I'm still working on the slides and all that, but I'll be posting the details soon in a day or two. So feel free to send me a message and I will share the link once I'm ready. So I will be doing the live webinar, like it's a paid webinar for sure, because it's a master class, not just a webinar. So it's about a 2-hour master class where I navigate everything in Canada, how you can practice, what are the rules, what's the scope of practice, etc. So I'm not kind of going to divert to that topic right now, but we will definitely talk about that. But these are a few things to consider, and from an Ayurvedic perspective, always making sure that, you're keeping your vata dosh, right? Not vata is the anglicized pronunciation, but vata dosh in balance. All your body's doshas, or the bioenergies should stay in balance, because your body is adapting, right? You do not want to feel spacey or brain fog. And when we talk about mom brain or feeling scattered, overwhelmed, these are usually signs of, vata dosh that gets aggravated because you're not having enough nutrition. So even right now in Canada, if you are staying in Canada, it's really cold. So having some grounding root vegetables, having lots of ghee. Ghee is fantastic for brain health. Ghee is fantastic for eye health. And ghee is something that's extremely recommended for pregnancy as well. So having good fats, good amounts of proteins, good amounts of carbs, and really clean foods is essential when it comes to pregnancy. So this was a little shorter talk on, optimal nutrition for pregnancy. If you have any questions for me, feel free to put it in the comment section. And if you want to book your free 15-minute appointment with me, I'm just going to post the link right here. So feel free to get in touch with me. You can message me, or if you need more information about Ayurveda, feel free to get in touch and we can talk more. Thank you all for watching this live. Thank you for joining me live so much. Yeah, so ghee is music to his ears. Oh, for sure, ghee is like the best thing ever. I have lots of ghee in my diet, and that's kind of the secret of my skin, right? That's what I tell people. So thank you for watching this live, and I will be posting about, have an interactive session. I will soon. Yeah, I will soon. I usually get experts on Saturdays for interactive sessions. The Wednesday ones are just the Wellness Wednesday ones, where I come live and I talk about different topics. But for sure, I will be doing that. So thank you. And yeah, so thank you. I'm just logging off from my Facebook. Okay.